All right, let's hit this thing. All that torque is so low down in the rev range. Hello, Supercars in Seconds here. Today we've got what may be the end of an era. The Bentley Mulsanne is coming to an end in production. They only made about 400 a year, so it's very labor intensive. It takes almost 3 months to build each example, and they really are just incredible cars. But let's explore this beautiful machine. So certainly an imposing view there. I would say it gives good rear view mirror as it comes up behind you. This thing would just get out of my way. Really an incredible car. And of course, being such low volume, making about 400 cars a year is all, they can make this metal. It doesn't have to be plastics or anything else. They can make it all out of metal. Beautiful Bentley, of course, in the LEDs there. And in very complex lighting, lighting the areas. They're very nice. The wheel, part of the Mulliner driving spec again, is a 21-inch wheel. An amazingly nice detail. You'll notice the gold around the B on this particular wheel. That's to celebrate 100 years of Bentley in 2019. They put the gold around all the models just for that time. It's a 2020 car here. Unfortunately, I believe it's going to be the last year of the car. There may be a few 21s, but unfortunately she's pretty much gone. From this rear three-quarter, you start to see a little bit of the length of the car. Moving further around, we have our big trunk, of course. And then you'll notice that this is a B when it's illuminated at night, so that's rather nice. Pushing the trunk open, you push the big B here, and it says here, look, 1919 to 2019. There we go. You push on that, and up it goes. Really very impressive. You have your umbrellas in the back there. All of this lovely carpeting, all stripy. Very, very impressive to look at. To close it back down, British car, boot, not trunk. There you go. Close that back down. And away she goes. All right, so let's move around to the side, and it is absolutely enormous. Listen to the sound when I knock on this car. Listen to the sound it makes here. It's like it's made of concrete. What's very interesting in the design of the car, sets the roof section to the main body. Right by here is a piece of bronze. It's called a bronze braze. That goes back 500 years, longer, 2,000 years, to where they would join the two pieces of steel together with a piece of bronze, making it the strongest part of the car is right here. Listen to this sound. No flex, no movement at all, completely solid. All right, so pulling this beautiful metal handle and going inside, look at this door. You can see the quality of the workmanship in the wood there, the reflection of my hand, or down here. Simply incredible. This is wonderful. This is a cigar ashtray, and I could never get across how heavy this thing is. If I open up the top, you'll start to see how thick the metal is. And of course, that gives it that incredible weight. Really a feeling of quality I've never seen anything like in a road car before. Has a little adapter on the bottom there, which goes into that little slot. Bunk. You hear the sound it makes. Moving further inside, you can see this lovely quilting. This is a little cushion that comes with the car just for your lower back. And then of course we have the beautiful winged bee up there. And I'm going to climb inside. Here we go. Ah, yes, this is more like it. All right, just an example of the detail inside the car. If I push on this little metal button here, it's in the center console, and open that up, a little bit of dust in there, but wood, leather, and chrome again. All again cold to touch, it's all metal. Vents are cold to touch. This is cold, it's all metal. Absolutely incredible details. Above me, we have our big moving sunroof up front, but in the rear here, I have these beautiful drop-down mirrors. There you go, it's me. Just perfect. Everything's leather that I'm touching here. Absolutely magnificent. What's cool is you have 360 degrees of wood through the car. So going across the dash, down the door, coming off the door, around this pillar, back onto the door, and even behind me up on the parcel shelf, you'll see the wood continuing across and then back down the car. So really very, very impressive. In this center console, we have a little storage area. Again, metal handle to open it. Storage in the back there with some powered USBs. And underneath here are the really fun bits. When I slide this back, look at all this stuff. So, right, I've obviously got temperature, actual temperatures, seat temperatures, and so on and so on. This is my lumbar support for the rear. This is my back, the bottom of the seat moving there. Look, you can see it moving in and out. But this is a fun one. If I push this one, now my seat controls move the seat in front of me forwards. So it just keeps going and going until I can really stretch my feet out completely, look. Then I can move this rest of the seat. I can really change the whole thing around and get almost like limousine style room. So again, I'll close this up, massage there. I'll close this up, and again, as I'm touching this little button here, even that's cold to touch, even that is metal. We have our little magazine rack and of course a picnic table. Again, I'm going to go to the side of it. Let's have a look, where can I get it? There we are. Wood, leather and chrome. Again, no use of plastic. Are you noticing a theme yet? So driver's eye view in the Bentley Mulsanne is a rather special place. You'll notice a distinct lack of plastics. Everything is wood, leather and chrome. This beautiful piano black wood is everywhere. If I push on this, it opens up as a little storage area. That's all leather lined with chrome on the edges and wood. I don't see any visual plastic there at all. It's really just first class. So to start her up, engine start stop is just here in the center. And then up on the main gauges, you'll notice that they start at 1 o'clock, not at 7 o'clock. They start way around here and go the opposite way. It's very cool. Goes back to their time in the airplane industry, of course, where the gauges start up here. So when they're in operating temperature, they're down straight, so you can see exactly what's going on. Really very impressive. One of the more interesting details is the tachometer, the rev counter here. The red line's at 4,500 for this great big V8, and it's pretty interesting. But let's take a look at this powertrain underneath the hood. So behind this beautiful winged bee, we have our 6.75 litre twin turbo 8-cylinder. And it actually goes back a very long time in its design, over 50 years in its main design. However, today the modern engine allows you to shut half of it down and just run as a 4-cylinder as needed. 512 horsepower in the newest car, but 752 pounds of torque. And that's the big deal with this car. That runs through an 8-speed transmission to just the rear wheels. It is an enormous vehicle, 220 inches in length. Let me put a normal, say a Honda Accord next to this car, and then you'll see the size. So here's an example of the size. They're pretty much lined up there on the front. But of course you can see the whole roof above it. Now look at the hood there. Look at the difference in the height. And then of course the length. Look at that, it's just insane how much more sticks out. So the scale of the car from the hood here, look how much higher that hood is. So the size of the car is difficult to get across. So what's different about the big Bentleys over, say, a Rolls-Royce is feel. But let's take it around the road and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so button down, pull it back into drive. And we're on our way. Straight away you hear that V8. It's a big engine too, 6.75 litres. But it feels bigger than that. You definitely feel it through the throttle. Much more feel than some of the Rolls-Royce cars, which are super smooth, of course, but less engaging, I think, to drive than a big Bentley. A lot of this car goes back to the previous models, the Arnage and the previous Mulsanne from years ago. Now, the Mulsanne name refers to the long straight, over 2 miles it used to be till they put a little chicane in it, but the long straight at the Le Mans track in France, for the Le Mans 24-hour. And what people might not know is Bentley won, I believe it was 4 of the first 5 Le Mans races back in the sort of late 1920s into the early 30s. So their racing heritage is very obvious in the cars today. What I mean is steering feel. I can actually get a bit of feel here. It's not like you get in perhaps a sports car, but it is much better than most of the other big sedans. So even though you might not think of Bentley as a racing brand, that big long straight, the Mulsanne straight, around the corner or two is the Arnage corner. And of course that was the model before this, the Bentley Arnage. So they've kept that racing lineage going through the names of their cars. It really is a fascinating brand that just never gets old. They get better and better as the years go by. All right, so it might sound like a strange thing to say, but we're going to blast this this big Mulsanne, and we're going to take it down into Batman's corner. The size of this car is amazing, how big it feels. I know if you look behind me over my right shoulder, you can see it. There's a lot of car behind me. All right, let's hit this thing. All that torque is so low down in the rev range, so it gets up to speed very quickly. You feel high in the car. A little bit of movement, but great body control. It really is. All right, let's hit it. All right, let's try these brakes. Big 16-inch rotors up front, almost 15 inches in the back too. All right, let's hit it. Boy, that nose goes way, way down. Very impressive brakes. Amazing how that nose lifts when you just touch the gas. It's wonderful to drive. It's glorious. A fabulous car. It's really a feeling of style and quality. That's the fun thing about it. And looking down, seeing that big winged bee on the steering wheel is always a nice feeling. These reverse gauges is fun too. All that torque dominates the experience. The drive is really dominated by that 752 pounds of torque. Not the most fuel efficient car in the world, as you might imagine. At 5,919 pounds on the road, it is a big heavy lump, but gets out of its own way right at 5 seconds to 60 miles an hour, and over 170 miles an hour. She really is an impressive car to go very fast in. When you're on those highway speeds, it really feels like you can just bash everything out of your way as you're driving down the road. A lot of fun. So coming down at ultra high speed, man, great brakes. The nose does pitch. Let's turn it in. A nice, very little body roll. It's just like a little bit of a tilt, and it just sits there. Big air struts, of course, on each corner. The way I'm driving it right now, the 24-gallon fuel tank is going to empty pretty quick. I think you can probably see it moving. But what a car. It is, yeah, you can hustle it along quite well, actually. It does, you feel high, as I mentioned, in the car, but it really follows the road very well, and the steering is good. I've read other reviews where it says it's not, but I actually like the feel. I can feel the road surface right through my arm there. Very, very good. So from a dead stop here, let's try this 8-speed transmission and see how it does. Ooh. Gosh, it flies through the gears. Very, very impressive. Gosh, only 4,500 revs again, so it's weird how quickly it builds up there. The transmission's not mega fast. It is an automatic, not a dual clutch, but that's okay for this type of car. I think it really goes through the gears very well. But kick down is the fun. When you're cruising 60-70 miles an hour and just hit it, it just boom, lifts the front of the car up and you are out of there. Really, just one of my favorite sedans ever. So that's the big Bentley Mulsanne. This is a 2020 example, and I'll be sad to see them go. The big Flying Spur has really stepped up their game with that car to make it very impressive. And I'll actually put a video at the end linking that to that car. But this is something I'll be sad to see go, to be honest with you. I've loved the Mulsanne. It came out in 2010, ran for 10 years, and has been a special car. Every time you get in it, you just learn something new about the car and appreciate this handmade work of art. Please subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. Be a part of this. We're having fun with these beautiful cars every day. I'll put a link down here again to the Bentley Flying Spur that's totally been upgraded from the previous model, and really a very impressive machine. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.